Thanks, Frank Lautenberg and Chuck Schumer, and thank you all. Many of these folks took a long bus trip to be here with a lot of little kids, and they deserve a round of applause. Thank you. Let me tell you, the last time that Frank and I got together to take on the tobacco lobby was a long time ago, but it changed America. We took smoking off of airplanes, and look what happened. I didn't realize it was a tipping point. But it was a point where all across America, folks started asking questions. If it's not safe on airplanes, why is it safe in hospitals, offices, classrooms, even the halls of Congress? America changed because of that law. Now we need to do the same thing to protect these children and these families when it comes to toxic chemicals. Let me tell you what the bottom line is. The Chicago Tribune series made it clear that over a span of decades, there was a campaign of marketing and deception, which suggested and created the impression that putting these flame retardant chemicals in furniture and in clothing made America a safer place. It turned out the chemicals themselves were not protecting people and in fact endangering them. We're finding more and more babies and more children across America with these chemicals already in their bloodstream. How did that happen? It happens every time you sit down on the couch. You know what happens? That couch has 2 pounds of flame retardant chemicals packed into those cushions, and when you sit down, you release this fine spray of toxic chemicals right in the face of your baby. That's not right. That isn't right. And none of us want to be part of that. We want to have a responsible oversight and regulation of the chemical industry. It means the Environmental Protection Agency needs the authority that this bill will give them. So the chemical companies will tell us in the first place, what is in this chemical? What kind of testing has taken place? Secondly, to make sure that families and consumers have access to a website across America where they can ask these hard questions and find the answers. And finally, an EPA that puts a priority of risk on these chemicals so that they start looking at those that could be the most dangerous immediately. 80,000 chemicals in America, 200 have been reviewed by the EPA, 4 have been banned. That tells me there's work to be done. And we're going to use the Chicago Tribune series. We're going to use the evidence that's accumulated here to really take the case to the halls of Congress. As Senator Schumer and Lautenberg can tell you, this is a battle that we face almost every day. There are people who are elected to the House and Senate who basically want to turn out the lights at the EPA, take away their authority to protect us. We have got to speak up and stand up, and families have to bring the strollers and bring the kids and make it clear we're not going to stand still for that. We need to have protections that all of us can count on. The last thing I'll say is this. We were blessed 6 months ago, my wife and I, with twin baby grandchildren. Couldn't be happier. They're living in Chuck Schumer's Brooklyn, so I'm spending a lot of time up there. And I thought when I read that Chicago Tribune series about going over to Columbus Circle, is it Columbus Circle in New York, to Babies R Us and buying 2 little units for these kids to be in, kind of cradles with cushions in them. And I thought to myself, what was in that product? What did my wife and I just buy for our grandkids? And the answer is, we don't know. It's time for American families, parents and grandparents to get the facts, get the information. The Lautenberg bill has to be passed. We need to work together. The last thing I want to tell you is, I don't care if your grandbaby, well, I do care, but it makes no difference whether your grandbaby is a Democrat or Republican or an independent. We need to stand together as families across America to protect these kids. Thank you for being here today. And now,